Bless my soul. I really love that rock and roll. Hoppa-tootie, bless my soul. Hoppa-tootie, bless my soul. Zeke. What up, Zeke? Long time no speak, Zeke. How you doing, man? How's life treating you down that way? Hoppa-tootie, bless my soul. I really love the rock and roll. Hoppa-tootie, bless my soul. Hoppa-tootie, bless my soul. Listen to this Helgen tenor shit. You ready? Hoppa-tootie. Hoppa-tootie, bless my soul. Really love that rock and roll. You're doing absolutely amazing. Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. Strength to strength. I'm glad to hear that. Super glad to hear that. Miss you, man. You should come visit us one day. If you're ever doing business up here in Washington State near Seattle, let me know. You got a place to stay, Zeke. Always, always. I haven't talked to Zeke in forever. Zeke just popped in.
Cool.
Yeah, rip meatloaf indeed.
Is that enough schmear for you?
Oh, that's perfect amount of schmear. You always do a great schmear.
Well, I did grow up my childhood in the Northeast, so I think that helps you get a schmear.
That helps
feel.
you get the schmear, yeah. That is true.
They got a lot of bagel culture out there.
Yeah, they do. Yola and my boys are always up there. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, man. Once again, you open invite, bro. Anytime you want. We got an extra bedroom. You and your wifey or whoever you want to bring, bro. You just let us know ahead of time. We'll make room. And it's a good spot. Like if you're trying to strike into Seattle or something, we're not super far from that. You come in the winter, you can just pop the ferry, bro. The 30-minute fast ferry. Just hop on it. You're in Seattle. So. It's good shit. The one thing I hate about Washington that I would change is their edible limits, bro. You can only get a 10 milligram fucking edible here, and it's killing me. It's killing me, man. Them slap bars, though, they're like a dream. They're like a dream within a dream now. They don't make them. Them 350 slap bars or whatever they were, 250, 150s, whatever they were. They don't make that shit up this way. They don't make it. They're not allowed, man. They sell you little fucking candies that are 10. I'd have to eat 10 of those to feel a thing. You know? That ain't good. Hoppa-tootie, bless my soul. Yeah, 10 is nothing. I know. Well, it's not nothing. Like, if you're not a pothead and you take 10 or 20, you're going to feel that. You're going to get good and stoned. If you're a pothead, though, 10 is like, I didn't even take anything. It's the current time in your country. It's 11:10 in mine. It's 10:30 here in my country. Howdy, Paul. I'm stuck with THCA in my neck of the woods. Legalize this shit now. Yes. We made a 1,000,000 milligram edible for an event coming up. Jesus Christ. That must be a YOLA thing, right? That must be a YOLA. That has to be a Yola thing. It sounds like a Yola video. Legal in Maine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make day drinking at the park legal. True. What is a park for except day drinking? Isn't weed legal in Washington? Yes. Well, every state has its own legalization, right? And in Washington state, when they legalized, they set a really arbitrarily low edible limit because Washington state was, in concert with Colorado, the first state to legalize recreational weed. And so they set these really low arbitrary edible limit because one of the big pushbacks when a state goes to legalize is people go like, oh, well, what about kids? How are you going to keep kids from getting this? And when they drill down into it, they see the edibles and they go, oh, look at this. This is candy. You can't sell this candy to children. And they're like, well, it's not candy and it's going to be packaged in a certain way that it doesn't look like candy. And, well, what if a kid gets a hold of this, and eats it? Well, we could lower the milligrams down. So if in the eventuality that a child does get their hand on it, they're not completely stoned. Okay, well, let's do that. Well, what sounds good? And at this point, once again, first legal rec in the country, they landed on 10, which is a good dose for your grandma who just got cancer and she's trying to fucking help her appetite, right? And she's never done weed. So they landed on that. And it is probably going to be a long time before they revisit that. Now, because Washington state set that standard, California and other states that have legalized since have pushed that standard farther. They will ban certain types of edibles with certain types of packaging, but they'll keep the milligrams high because they know high dose milligram edibles are really useful for cancer patients. They're really useful for pain and suffering and depression and all of these things, right?
But the advantage of Washington is that they'll let a pot shop pop up just about anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the great thing about Washington is you're absolutely right. The zoning shit, they didn't care about it, bro. They really did. I think that there was stipulations in there where it's like you got to be a mile from a school.
Yeah.
And obviously there's typical, like I couldn't open a pot shop in this neighborhood. It's not zoned for commercial, but anything that's zoned for commercial, you can open a weed shop. And there is like literally, it doesn't matter how tiny the little town is. We were just in Forks, pot shops everywhere. And how many people live there? 3,000? Something like that. It's like population 3,000 people and there's 3 pot shops in it. You know what I mean? There's really just no point. Dude, Texas, I hate to tell you this, Texas is going to be one of the last places in the union to legalize weed. I lived in Texas for 2 years. They're so anti-weed there, bro. They are so crazy anti-weed. It felt like, dude, I felt like I was in the 90s again. But instead of like the cops not really caring about weed deals, they were really looking out for it. That's how I felt the whole time I lived in Texas. Like, it's illegal and cops are looking for it. And if you got to be a fucking stoner when you're here, you got to be DL times X. You're going to have to travel. You're going to have to ride dirty because you're going to have to go to your fucking dealer, pick up the sack, and ride all the way back home with it in your car. You know what I mean? That did not feel good, bro.
Do you think Trump will consider weed legalization to up his numbers?
No, he's going the other way. He's trying to reschedule weed.
Yeah.
Just the way it goes.
If Biden had done it, he would have won, even as demented as he is.
Oh, yeah. All Biden had to do was sign an EO and start the process for national fucking descheduling and legalization of recreational weed. He would have won.
Yeah.
Kamala would have won.
Mm-hmm. But even he,
yeah,
as demented as he is, he would be like, well, at least you legalized weed.
Oh. Dead ass. People forget. Most human beings that vote are not complex political creatures. Yeah. They're single, double-issue voters. And there's a lot of motherfuckers out there that sit on their ass that would get off their ass to vote for a president that legalized weed. I'm just letting you know, that would be the easiest way for Democrats to reassert themselves Just do something.
Yeah.
Do something big, but not impossible.
Mm-hmm.
To show people that you're still doing things. You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of conservatives that like weed too. It's not like a.
Oh, everybody loves weed.
Yeah.
Literally everybody loves weed. This is a crowd pleaser. It's just like you want to shake both political parties because you're just like, you're trying to do populism. Here's a populism you could do. Everybody in the fucking country smokes weed or knows somebody who does. It's completely optically retarded that we live in a country where I can smoke a joint right here. I take 2 steps. I've committed a federal offense. You get what I'm saying? I'm fine to smoke weed right here. I step over the border, take 1 step, and I'm going to prison. That doesn't work. Right? So it's optically bad for the United States that we're at each other's throats over something so stupid. And all it would take would be an executive order that touches off a legalization campaign, the FDA, deschedules, and now you've got legal weed. Now you've got states who have to make their fucking laws match federal law because federal law supersedes state. State law can't say, nuh-uh, well, weed is totally illegal. They can't.
What if they made an amendment like how when they ended prohibition? That'd be epic. A whole constitutional
The weed amendment. Yeah, you got to get 2/3 of the states to ratify that, but that would be based.
I think they could do it.
I mean, it would be epic. I don't think the Democrats can do a fucking thing. Personally. I think a dynamic political party could grouse for shit like that. Could start making big, epic overtures towards change. They don't want it. They don't want it. I don't know still to this day. You know what I do? I do know. Do you know why weed didn't get legalized under the Biden administration? So fucking simple. Do you know?
What?
Do you know why? Do you have a guess?
Just because he's old and stodgy, or he wanted the cops to be able to arrest people?
If you look at the drug enforcement budget of every police department in America, the vast majority of drug enforcement that they do is weed. If they're not busting weed, how do they justify their big, giant fucking budget getting bigger next year? If there's less crime for them to go after, and there's less arrests made for people just dealing and smoking weed, how do they justify another budgetary increase? So that is why Joe Biden didn't legalize weed. That's why no Democrat has. They'll make overtures towards it, but when the chips are down, they never get it done. And that is why. Because the police unions, the police and correctional officers unions, are a very powerful lobby. And they don't want something that is illegal and locks a bunch of fucking people up to be made legal.
And they like that.
Mm. They're trying to build a prison. Dum bum 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 bum. They're trying to build a prison. Bum 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 bum. They're trying to build a prison. Dum 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 bum 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 bum. That's good shit.
Just confirming his vet appointment.
Oh, Mr. Vet.
We're still going to get that paw looked at.
We're going to take it out. We're going to have him take a look at it. We're going to tell him what happened. But you just got to get your boosters. Mm-hmm. You got to get your little boosters and your little shoesters.
It's just a general look at how he's doing.
Yep.
Not going to do anything else for him as he's getting to be a peepaw.
Yep. people. Utilizing drugs to pay for secret wars around the world. Drugs are now our global policy. Now you police the globe. I found my smack, my crack, my bitch right here in Hollywood. The prison system is comprised of mostly black people. Blah, 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 blah. They're trying to build a prison. They're trying to build a prison. They're trying to build a prison. They're trying to build a prison for you to me and live in. What is this mug? It's Senor Tomat, who died for your sins so that you may be forgiven. Look at his face. Look at the ecstasy of Tomat. This is his moment of doubt and pain. This is his moment on the cross of doubt and pain. You know, Jesus had one of those as well, where Jesus had his moment of doubt and pain. He looked to the sky and he said, what did he say? Does anybody know? Father, why hast thou forsaken me? And you can see it. Never did he doubt the Father. That's not true. He had a moment of doubt at the end. He looked to the heavens, to his Father, and said, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? That is what that is what the verse means. Jesus had a moment of doubt at the end of his life. Proving, by the way, that he was a man. Nope. Okay. What is the meaning behind Jesus saying, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? What is the meaning behind Jesus saying, Father, why hast thou forsaken me?
And Siri's ass now.
She is. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, that is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Matthew 27:46, King James. This cry is a fulfillment of Psalm 22:1, one of many parallels between that psalm and the specific events of the crucifixion. It is difficult to understand what sense Jesus was forsaken by God. It is certain that God approved his work. It is certain that Jesus was innocent. He had done nothing to forfeit the favor of God. As God's own son, holy, harmless, undefiled, and obedient, God still loved him, and none of these senses could he have forsaken him. Prophet Isaiah says this is about the Messiah. Surely he took up our pain, bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. Jesus redeemed us from the curse of law, being made a curse for us in Galatians. He was made a sin offering. We know this. In those awful moments, as evil men were allowed to do whatever they wanted to Jesus, our Lord expressed his feelings of abandonment. God placed the sins of the world on him, and Jesus, for a time, felt the desolation of being unconscious of his Father's presence. It was at that time God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. So you're just fucking dead wrong, bro. Sorry, isn't it crazy that a fucking atheist knows more about your religion than you do? Jesus Christ had a moment of doubt on the cross.
Like we all have doubt. We had the
It proved he
doubt.
was human. It proved he was human. You're wrong. I just read chapter and verse. I just went all over the Bible reading chapter and verse, supporting what I said. And there's dumbasses out there going, no. You don't understand Bible. You don't understand Bible. You don't understand that Jesus had a moment of doubt? That's central to your faith. And you don't even understand that. I just chapter and versed you that Jesus had a moment of doubt and pain. That is central to Christianity. Central. Nah, buddy. God bless. God don't doubt. God did doubt because God was also a man. Do you understand that Jesus was both man and God? Do you understand that he was human? Do you understand he was tempted in the desert by Satan? You understand that Jesus warred against his sinful nature in the same way that you do? Do you realize the Garden of Gethsemane was a parable, right? So you understand then that Jesus was both man and divine according to your theology, and his human side was weak, and he had a moment of weakness and doubt upon the cross, and he looked to the heavens to his Father and asked his Father, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" He felt apart from God. He felt doubt. If only for a moment. God bless my soul. God bless your soul. And how about God bless your ability to pick up his book and read it? How about that? Because you just came in here spouting some dumb fucking shit. And you got created. Atheists love to do this. It's so sad to me that I would know the fundamentals of their holy book, having never been a Christian really one day in my life. Right? I never had a choice when I was a kid when they took me to church, but as soon as I was old enough to choose like what religion I wanted to be, I had no religion. So, you feel it? But for some reason, religious people will come in here, and I, as an atheist, I know more about their holy book than they do. This guy I just said, Jesus Christ had a moment of doubt and pain on the cross, and this dude abso-fucking-lutely just said, "No," and I gave him chapter and verse, and he still went, "No." So stuck in their ways that they will only seek what validates what they feel, not reading the book and finding what they need, right? I'm not going against Christianity. I'm going against Christianity right now because a Christian is who I'm arguing with. Would you like me to go after Islam or Judaism? Find me a Jew or find me a Muslim to come in here and say stupid shit, and I'll do that. But you know what the sad truth is here on YouTube Shorts, 99% of the time, if somebody's going to say some stupid religious shit, going to be a G-tard. I'm sorry, a Christian. You want to pray for me? Why don't you pray for the wisdom to read your own Bible? How about you pray for your own wisdom? Pray for revelation. Pray that God gives you a revelation and gives you the impetus and strikes into your heart the impetus to read your Bible because you're ignorant. Why so hateful? Well, what am I saying that's hateful? I just told the guy to pray for wisdom. That's not hateful. Yeah, keep praying for wisdom and revelation. Don't worry about me. I'm doing just fine. Keep praying for wisdom and revelation. Pray that God gives you the impulse to pick up his book and read it. Yeah. Pray that God gives you the impulse and the wisdom to pick up his book and read it because you don't know his book, but you're out here arguing in ignorance. You think I'm angry? I think you're angry. I think I'm just doing what I always do when Christians come in here. No, I'm not angry at all. You're angry because you are getting contradicted in real time. You're talking weird religious shit, and I'm unraveling it only because I've read your book. I know what your book says. That's it. No anger, no hatred. It's just you guys can't juggle all the balls that it takes to make this religion thing work. Not with me, because I've read the book. You get it? You feel it? This little foinger right here, I want to cut it off of me. Get up there, you little bastard, and stay. Don't you dare come back. Yeah, don't push your religion. And if you do, if you come in here pushing your religion on me, know that I'm an atheist that probably knows more about the Bible than you. So you're going to want to tread lightly, because I will contradict you. I will make you look stupid. Yeah. Let me ask the Christians in the room. No. I don't feel abandoned by God. I don't believe in God. Let me ask the Christians in the room. This is a good one. So when Jesus returns, what is his first stop? This is my favorite thing to ask Christians. When Jesus, because that's in the Bible. When Jesus returns, where's he going first? Who's the first person that's going to be brought to judgment? What's first on Jesus' agenda when he comes back? Any Christian? Terry, looking at you. Anybody? So Jesus comes back. Where's his first stop? Terry? I'm asking you a biblical question here, Terry. Can you answer? When Jesus comes back, what's his first stop? You really ought to know this because you talk about Jesus coming back all the time. You really ought to know this. What's the first door Jesus is going to come knocking upon? What's the first door that Jesus is going to knock on? You remember? What's the first door? In and out. In and out. That's what a hamburger's all about. In and out. In and out. What's the first stop? I'm still waiting for a Christian to answer my question. For some reason, all the Christians have disappeared. Where's Jesus coming first? Hey, Sig Rat. We're talking to Christians today, Sig Rat. You know how that go. Where's Jesus' first stop when he comes back? Thank you, Tucker. The false prophets. Those that worked iniquity in his name. Guess what the first door Jesus is knocking on to do some business is? Yeah, I'll hop in bong a little bit later. The church. He's coming to the church. To the people who worked iniquity in his name. The false prophets. The proselytizers. The people who did not listen to his words, but used his name as a weapon. Yeah. Cheers. Knock, knock, Christians. Jesus is back, and he's pissed at you. Exactly. He's mad at you because you did not listen. You wasted your time in a YouTube chat instead of giving everything you had to clothe the naked, to feed the hungry, and to house the homeless. That's what Jesus called upon you to do, to walk in his footprints, to give everything that you have to those less fortunate, because it is the meek that shall inherit the world. Oh, yeah. Used his name to get money, used his name as a bludgeon against non-believers, used his name, right? But didn't walk in his footsteps. Every last one of you burns first. Then he's coming for me. Oh, I'll get mine eventually, but he's going to knock on your door first. You know why? Because a lot of you motherfuckers are out here using his name like a baseball bat. And if the Jesus of the Bible is real, he's already told you what he thinks about that. He's already told you what he thinks about people who clothe themselves in holy vestments, but they make the vestments filthy. Charlatans, pretenders, those that wrought iniquity in the name of Jesus Christ and continue to do it. Sorry that an atheist knows your Bible better than you do, but that's just the case. So if I were you, if I was a Christian chilling in here, trying to fucking sling rocks at people using Christianity, you know what I would do? I'd immediately read my book, number one. I'd realize that I was the main target for Jesus, right? Because Jesus has higher expectations for Christians. And if you use his name to make money, use his name as a social bludgeon, he's coming for you first. He's coming for you, thou worker of iniquity. Uh-oh. The Christians are still acting confused. Huh? What are you talking about? Because they haven't read their book. So if I were you, here's a little advice for all Christians watching today. If I were you, I'd get right the fuck offline and I'd go to a homeless shelter quick. And I'd make that my life. I'd make serving the poor my life. And I would hope that the good works that I did was enough for Jesus to come back and forgive me of the iniquity that I wrought in his name. I'd do it now. Jesus called for you to live as he lived. Ask yourself this: would Jesus be in a live stream chat talking shit and being made to look stupid by an atheist? No. Would Jesus consider to be a good use of your time? No. What did Jesus call you to do? Clothe the naked, feed the hungry, house the homeless. What are you doing right now? Arguing and getting fucked on in front of 117 people in the name of God. You think Jesus would be here getting fucked on in the name of God? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, spread his word, live his life. He called for you to live his life. While you're spreading the word, feed the fucking hungry. Loaves and fishes. Give everything that you have to those that have less than you. That's what Jesus called you to do. Are you doing that? Because if you're not, you're a worker of iniquity coming in here using his name like a bludgeon against people, but living in contradiction of Jesus's edicts. You're supposed to be just like Jesus. You're supposed to be as close to Jesus as you can possibly muster the ability to do. Nobody's perfect. Even Jesus wasn't perfect. Right? You understand your theology, or do I understand it better than you do? If you put the energy that you put traveling around YouTube shorts and proselytizing to people like me that don't need to hear it, and you put that energy into feeding a homeless person in your town, or reading to kids at the library, or doing any goddamn thing that steps outside of yourself, something that Jesus would have done, right? Because I guarantee you, nothing that I've read in the Bible makes me think that Jesus would be sitting in a chat room. Canty. Yeah. I'm fine with Christians. I really got no problem with Christian people. I used to really be like more of an anti-theist. But here's the problem I have. When a Christian opens their mouth to proselytize to me but can't answer the very simple questions that I ask them about how they're fulfilling Jesus's commandments, about what Jesus called them to do, and most importantly, about what the first fucking visit Jesus is going to make when he comes back according to the Bible. And people don't know this. He's knocking on the door of the dead churches. He's knocking on the door of the people that wrought iniquity in his name. People like this. People like the people in here. People like some of the Christians that have been arguing with me in here. He's coming first for you. Well, here's what it is, Danny, and this is just the truth. They want to turn their views, right? They want to turn their religion, and they want to use it as a spear to stab outward. When really what their religion calls them to do, if you read the Bible, is to go inward. To bring themselves closer to that holiness as close as possible to that holiness and to live their life in service of it, right? Nowhere in the Bible does it say wield, especially Jesus, wield my words like a bludgeon against others, bludgeon others over the head with my words, argue with people about my words. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. Also doesn't say anything about homosexuals at all. Interesting, right? What he did say is he said, the least among you shall be first, and the first shall be last. He did say that. He did talk about that. Yes, Jesus, having his moment of doubt on the cross, made him relatable as a character. It showed that there was humanity in him, that he was both divine and human. And to err is human. To doubt is human. And in that moment, Jesus showed his humanity. He had a moment of doubt. He had a moment of pain on the cross where he felt isolation from his Father. And he cried out in pain and anguish, just like a human being would have on the cross. You see? Christians don't understand this. I just spent the last fucking half hour, 45 minutes explaining this to Christians. Why do I know that, but you don't? Why do I know where Jesus is coming when he comes back first? Why do I know that and you don't? Why should an atheist know the answer to these questions better than you do? Does that mean you're not spending the time studying your Bible like Jesus called you to? Does that mean you're not spending your life in service of those lesser than you like Jesus told you to? The meek shall inherit the earth, etc., etc.? Yeah, the anti-gay stuff is Old Testament, and Jesus said, I did not come to enforce the old law, but to create a new covenant. You remember that? What was Jesus's new covenant? All those who believe in me shall have everlasting life. Notice it doesn't say, except if they're gay. All those who believeth unto me shall have everlasting life through God the Father. That is the new covenant of Jesus Christ. So the old covenant is in the Bible to give you a historical perspective on what happened to bring us up to the current time in the New Testament where God decided to sacrifice his one and only Son on earth so that you might live forever. That is the new covenant of Jesus Christ. It has nothing to do with being gay. It has nothing to do with what color you are or where you were born or whether you believe or not. Right? What it has to do with is erasing the ridiculous covenant of God in what's known as the Torah, right? Which is no fish on a fucking Wednesday. You know what I mean? All that bullshit. And to bring it down to one. I'm sick of people talking about God in YouTube live streams. Same. I didn't start this conversation, though. He came to fulfill it. So you remember all those things, right? So you can't eat fish on a Wednesday, no shellfish, no pork, no mixed fabrics. Working on a Sunday gets you stoned to death. Lying with a man as woman is abomination. Blah blah blah. All those Leviticus rules, right. He died on the cross to fulfill the punishment for all of those Old Testament rules, and he made a new covenant. He gave you a new covenant. Now you don't got to worry about shellfish. Now you don't got to worry about mixed fabrics. You're chill. Now you got to worry about being gay. Anyone who should believe in me shall have everlasting life. That's Jesus straight out of his mouth. But Jesus doesn't let Christians off that easy. Jesus calls Christians to emulate him, to walk in his footsteps, to give everything of themselves. That's why Jesus talks about the fact that it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom. There shouldn't be a rich man. If you're rich, you should be giving all that richness to people that are lesser than you, not hoarding that wealth. But there are a lot of Christians that don't read that part of the Bible because it doesn't fit with their preferred lifestyle. They want to live in a little McMansion. They want to drive an expensive car. All these things, right? And that doesn't jibe with giving all their money to the poor. So, they make their choice. They choose worldly over spiritual. And Jesus will have a harsh judgment for them when he comes back. Yeah, that's the sad thing. We'll move on now because you're absolutely right, Danny. All the Christians are gone now because they didn't want to hear what I wanted to say. Right? I start quoting Jesus at them and they all run. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I start actually talking about Jesus and they scatter like cockroaches. What does that tell you? Like roaches, bro. Like roaches when you turn the fucking light on. Gone. Because they came in here to bludgeon an atheist over the head with Jesus. That's not how you do it, bro. Especially not this atheist that's read the Bible and shit. They know it's a grift. They know it's a little fairy tale to make them feel better about themselves and make them feel superior to other people. And when you point out in the Bible that they're about to get fucking booted in the ass, if they're right, and Jesus comes back, they're the first stop for Jesus to cast them down, to cast the money lenders out of his father's temple one last time. You guys remember that? Jesus showed up to Jerusalem in a donkey, right? Riding on the back of a donkey, rode straight to the temple, kicked all the fucking money lenders, people that were trading on God's name out of the temple and said, "Get thee hence." Remember that? You're coming back to do that again if you're a Christian. Where do you think the money lenders in the temple are? Who's the money lender in the temple now? It's you, dumb fuck, and your pastor. And your big gaudy fucking church. And your pastor's Beamer and your Beamer. No, dude, Jesus is based. Most of Jesus, if you're even if you're an atheist, you read the philosophy of Jesus, it's based. It's about love, it's about acceptance, it's about serving people that are lesser than you, people that are in a lesser position than you. It's about using your wealth not to hoard it, not for your own self-aggrandizement, but to help people. 100%. But I don't mean to harp on it. It seems like all the Christians that were in here that were so loud when they were using Jesus' name as a bludgeon against me, now when I've quoted Jesus back at them, they're all quiet like little church mice. Why do you guys think that is? But we can move on. What do we want to talk about? I'm not trying to counter proselytize. I think you made me Christian. Cool. What's the topic? We were talking about Christianity and how a lot of Christians don't know their Bible. I mean, we can keep talking about this. I just don't want to drive people out of the fucking room because I don't want people to stop here and think this is just another channel where somebody's reading the fucking Bible at them. That's not what we're doing here. You know what I mean? That's all. Most Christians, most reasonable Christians do Kilimanjaro. And to be honest with you, I find that most Christians don't use Jesus as a bludgeon against people. But there are a lot of you that do. There are a lot of dead churches out there. There are a lot of churches out there that are gaudy, that are just like temples to the self. And Jesus is going to tear those fucking churches down if he's real. Right? Now, a lot of Christians want to fucking, you know what I mean? They want to point out the mote in my eye, but ignore the log in theirs. That's biblical, right? They want to cast fucking stones in a glass house. That's biblical, right? Ever heard of YouTube back in the day called The Bible Reloaded? Bible Reloaded, my nuts just exploded, my dick just exploded, and it's Hugo and Jake. Bible Reloaded, the nuts just exploded. Yeah, I have a long history with both Hugo. Well, not Hugo. I guess it's Hugo is transitioned, but Jake. I cannot remember what. I'm not trying to dead name Hugo, by the way. It just used to be The Bible Reloaded with Hugo and Jake. Hugo has transitioned. Hugo is a she. I don't remember what Hugo's name is. Hannah, thank you. Hannah but Hannah and Jake don't work together. There was drama between Hannah and Jake. And I still follow Jake on Twitter, and we interact every once in a while. He doesn't like me much, but every once in a while, we're both anti-democratic lefties, and so we find the equilibrium sometimes. He's a cool cat. I like Jake. Jake, he's a little bit cringe. I'm not gonna lie. He went a little far down the SJW rabbit hole, but whatever. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Remember that, Osama? Yeah. Yeah, Bible reloaded. My dick just exploded. My ass was corroded. Man, it's Hugo and Jake. Jake's corn suit. I didn't even get that shit, bro. I've seen like a humiliation ritual to me that he showed up every stream in a fucking goddamn corn thing. Bible reloaded. My dick just exploded. What am I snacking on? Oh, there's a bagel with some schmear. A blueberry bagel, nice and toasted. A little bit of butter and schmear. No, like a straight up corn on a cob suit. Using the Bible as a bludgeon doesn't make sense. We're not meant to judge non-Christians as if they are Christians. Makes no sense to hold them to our standard. You're not supposed to judge Christians either. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Your entire fucking life, to the extent that it can be, should be focused on people that have less than you do, right? If your church isn't out there making overtures, doing soup kitchens and helping the homeless in the area and reaching out to people in the community that are needy and providing some funds or some help for them, helping old ladies clean up their property. If your church ain't doing none of this shit, if you're just meeting there and going, God is so real. God, it can feel. And then you're putting $20 in the collection plate. That ain't it. That ain't it. You're supposed to use your discernment. That's not judgment. There is one judge, right? According to your theology. One judge. You're supposed to use your discernment as a Christian, but discernment is not judgment. Judgment is for God the Father. You as a Christian, you are not to judge. It is not you to judge. It is not on you to judge, ever. Using discernment is different than judgment, right? Looking at a Christian in your church and using your discernment to see that that Christian isn't living by their own principles and calling that out in a gentle way and try to guide that Christian, that's not judgment. That's discernment. And I know this shit. I know this shit. I know my fucking Jesus. Yeah. There's one judge, right? We agree on that, according to the Bible. Only God judges. I'm in a tough financial situation. I will say there's a church-run foundation that helps me with food pantry once every month. Once again, not to reveal a little too much about myself, but my sister and brother-in-law are super involved in a real Christian evangelical church in my little hometown. And that is not a dead church. They do outreach every fucking week for homeless people. They got a soup kitchen before every sermon. So they invite homeless people to come, eat breakfast, sit in on the church if you want. Breakfast is free, right? They make a little breakfast burritos every time they've got church, right? When they donate to the church, what little bit has to go to maintenance of the church and stuff goes there. Everything else, right, goes to the homeless, goes to the needy, goes to outreach to the homeless, helping the homeless. They make little backpacks for the homeless. They got soap and little travel things in it, food that'll keep, right? So this is good. This is good. These are Christians that are living by the courage of their convictions. And I have respect for that, even as an atheist. Exactly. God and Judge Joe Brown, right? The only Judge Joe Brown and God can judge you. I agree with that. Dude, I don't even know if I can transition to the fucking schizo shit. But I wouldn't be shocked. I hear you have a problem with negativity. Huh? How negative am I being, bro? I thought that last little bit was pretty fucking goddamn positive, to be frank with you, and to be Paul as well. Well, that was the thing. Because this is my sister's church, my brother-in-law's church, literally and figuratively, my brother-in-law is the pastor of that church. You know, I was like, I'm gonna go. Like, I want to see him preach, and I want to see what their church is like. And when I went, there was food, there was fellowship, you know, what they would call fellowship going on. Everybody was talking to each other. There were people there that looked like they were hard on their luck. There were people there that, you know, that looked like they weren't, but they were all in fellowship together. And I was actually kind of like, wow, okay, this church is doing something, right? This church is actually doing something. And so I didn't really take much away from the sermon. I sat through it. I didn't really take much away that I would call religious experience, but I did come to respect. I did come to respect my sister's religion a little more, at least the conviction of it. I'm betting that's fairly rare. Not as rare as you think, man. There's a lot of Christian, like smaller churches that are out there doing a lot of good. You can tell a lot by about what a Christian organization is doing by looking at their church building. If it's a humble building, right, and it's not meant to be some giant gaudy temple, but it's more just like a humble building, you can kind of bet that that building, small though the congregation may be, is doing outreach and stuff. There's a lot of Christian organizations that provide a stopgap for homeless people and otherwise. So it is not as rare as one might think. We can't really cast that kind of stone. Most people go to church not to pray. Yeah. Church for a lot of people, and these are dead churches, it's a socialization thing. It's like gossip and all of that. Yeah, if your church is like a stadium, or like that big crystal cathedral that's right outside of Austin. You guys know what I'm talking about? Not Austin, right outside of San Antonio. That giant crystal cathedral that's like 120 feet of glass and crystal chandeliers and shit. Ask yourself how many homeless people that could have fed. Probably the whole fucking homeless population of San Antonio 3 or 4 times over. So, you guys seen that? Let me see if I can find that. I want to show you guys the gaudy fucking shit, because I drove by this fucking thing a bunch of times. Crystal Church, Texas. Let me see if I can find it. Sacred Heart. No. This is gonna be San Antonio. Crystal. Maybe I need to do glass. Glass. Nope. This fucking church is crazy. South Texas Glass. No. Okay. Church. Cathedral of San Fernando. No. Glass. Yeah. Does anybody know the name of that fucking thing? That church? That's just a big fucking giant glass church. It's in Texas. It's near San Antonio, but I'm going to take that out. Huge. Maybe I'll just huge. because it is huge. Huge, not googe. God damn it. Huge. Huge glass church, Texas. Okay, here we go. This has got to be it. 10 largest mega churches in Texas. New Light Christian Church in Houston. Community Bible Church in San Antonio. Preston Baptist in Plano. Let me see if it's in here. Cornerstone. I think this might be it. Non-denominational church. Nope. Houston. Fellowship Church, Grapevine, South Lake. I don't know, man. I'm having. It might. It's not in Houston though. I'm pretty sure it was one of these that's near. One Texas church has room for over 40,000. 10 beautiful churches in Texas. Okay, let's see if this is it. It'll take your breath away. Let me see if this happens. First Methodist in Houston, no. San Fernando, no. That is a beautiful old cathedral, though. There's really like a lot of old cathedrals in Texas. So this is not what I'm thinking of. Shit. List of mega churches. 11 most beautiful churches and cathedrals. 5 Houston mega churches. All right, let me see this. Company I work for painted an LDS temple in San Diego a couple years ago. The paint job alone was $4 million. $4 million. All right, so let's see. I'm going to see if I can find any of this shit. I know it wasn't in Houston because I used to see it here, there, and everywhere. And huge glass church. Man, none of you Texas fucks knows what I'm talking about, man. Images, maybe. Oh, here it is. Glass Chapel. What is this? No, this is in fucking Arkansas. God damn it. It looks like this, though. Glass Church. Nope. Is this it? No, it's too small. Fook. It's gonna drive me nuts, bro. This is gonna drive me a little fucking insane, I think. Because I feel like it. Woodlands? Woodlands Church? This looks like it. Where's this? No, fuck. I'm not going to be able to stop until I find this. This church is insane. I remember it, dude. Oh, man. You know what, dude? Ashley would know. But Ashley ain't in here right now. Eureka Springs, ain't it? Fuck. Feel like it was on the way from San Antonio to Austin, so maybe I'll just do that. Try San Antonio. Glass Church. No, not San Antonio. We're gonna do Austin. Okay. I'm not giving up. I'm gonna find this church. Crystal Cathedral. Seating capacity. Crystal Cathedral, Los Angeles. Christ Cathedral, Garden Grove, California. Crystal Cathedral. This looks like it. Fuck is this bullshit, bro? Means it's probably in the hill country. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just remember it was this huge, gaudy glass thing. Like it was just a giant, fucking obscene glass eyesore. Just plopped in the middle of fucking Texas. I mean, there are tons of these that are just popping up that are in California that are just equally as fucking retarded. Maybe it got closed down. That's true. A lot of churches did close down. Maybe they tore it down and made something else. I can't imagine that. But maybe it did. It wasn't a chapel, though. It was huge. It was just huge. It was like a big glass church. Looks like it seated at least 1,000 people or something. Man, it was big. Whatever. I have to let it go at this point. It's either that or just go hit Google Earth and drive around my old town until I find it. Yeah, it's like like a big church. I don't know if it was a cathedral. There are a bunch of fucking mega churches popping up here in SoCal. Oh yeah, I mean, church is big business now. Church is super big business. Super duper. Super duper party pooper. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for chilling. It was fun, but I got shit to do. I will see you later.